This is Rednecks reading the Bible here. I am Dustin Wright. I'm going to be reading for you John chapters 11 and 12. And like we're not eloquent speakers. We've kind of talked about that quite a bit now. If you're listening to our Redneck Read the Bible series, we're just going to read. John's one of my favorite books, and I really like reading the book of John. So I'm going to start in John chapter 11, verse 1. Now a man named Lazarus was sick. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary and his sister Martha. This Mary, whose brother Lazarus now lay sick, was the same one who poured perfume on the Lord and wiped his feet with her hair. So the sisters sent word to Jesus, "Lord, the one you love is sick." When he heard this, Jesus said, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." Jesus loved Martha and her sister Lazarus. Yet, when he heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed there for 2 more days. Then he said to his disciples, "Let us go back to Judea." "But Rabbi," they said, "a short while ago the Jews tried to stone you, and yet you are going back there?" Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours of daylight? A man who walks by the day will not stumble, for he sees by the words of the light, or he sees by this world's light. It is when he walks by night that he stumbles, for he has no light." After he had said this, he went on to tell them, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going to go wake him up." His disciples replied, "Lord, if he sleeps, he will get better." Jesus had been speaking of his death, but the disciples thought he meant natural sleep. So when he told them plainly, "Lazarus is dead, and for your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe, let us go to him." Then Thomas, called Didymus, said to the rest of the disciples, "Let us also go, that we may die with him." On his arrival, Jesus found Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Bethany was less than 2 miles from Jerusalem, and many Jews had come to Mary and Martha to comfort them in the loss of their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to meet him, but Mary stayed home. "Lord," Martha said to Jesus, "if you had been here, my brother would have not died. But I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha answered, "I know he will rise in the resurrection at the last day." Jesus said to her, "I mean the resurrection and the life." Or Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me lives even though he dies. And whoever lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" "Yes, Lord," she told him. "I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who has come into the world." And after she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary aside. "The teacher is here," she said, "and is asking for you." When Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet entered the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. When the Jews who had been with Mary in the house comforting her noticed how quickly she got up and went out, they followed her, supposing she was going to the tomb to mourn there. When Mary reached the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would have not died." Then Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come along with her also weeping. He was deeply moved in the spirit and troubled. "Where have they laid him?" he asked. "Come and see, Lord," they replied. Jesus wept. Then Jesus said, "See how I loved him?" But some of them some of them said, "Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man kept this man from dying?" Jesus, once more deeply moved, came into the tomb. It was a cave with a stone laid across the entrance. "Take away the stone," he said. But Lord," said Martha, the sister of the dead man, "by this time there is a bad odor, for it has been 4 days." Then Jesus said, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you would see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone, and then Jesus looked up and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me, I know that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." When he said this, Jesus called in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out. His hands and feet were wrapped in strips of linen and cloth around his face. Jesus said to him, "Take off the grave clothes and let him go." Therefore many Jews who had come to visit Mary and had seen what Jesus did put their faith in him. But some of them went to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees called a meeting of the Sanhedrin. What are we accomplishing?" they asked. "Here is a man performing many miraculous signs. If we let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him. And then the Romans will come and they will take away both our place and our nation." Then the one named Caiaphas, who was the high priest that year, spoke up. "You know nothing at all. You do not realize that it is better for you that one man die for the people than the whole nation perish." He did not say this on his own, but as the high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the Jewish nation, and not only for that nation, but also for the scattered children of God, to bring them together and make them one. So from that day on they plotted to take his life. Therefore Jesus no longer moved about publicly among the Jews. Instead, he withdrew to a region near the desert, to a village called Ephraim, where he stayed with his disciples. When it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, they went up for the country to Jerusalem for their ceremonial cleansing. But before the Passover, they kept looking for Jesus. And as they stood in the temple area, they asked one another, "What do you think? Isn't he coming for the feast at all?" But the chief priests and the Pharisees had given orders that if anyone found out where Jesus was, he should report it to them, so that he might arrest them. John chapter 12. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus arrived at Bethany where Lazarus lived. When Jesus had raised from the dead, here a dinner was given in Jesus' honor. Martha served, while Lazarus was among those reclining at the table with him. Then Mary took up about a pint of pure nard, an expensive perfume, and she poured it on Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the fragrance of perfume. But one of the disciples, Judas Iscariot, who was later to betray him, objected, "Why isn't this perfume sold and the money given to the poor? It was worth a year's wage." He did not say this because he cared about the poor, but he was a thief. As the keeper of the money bag, he used to help himself to what was put into it. "Leave her alone," Jesus replied. "It was intended that she should save the perfume for the day of my burial. You will always have the poor among you, but you will not always have me." Meanwhile, a large crowd of Jews found out that Jesus was there and came not only because of him, but also to see Lazarus, whom he raised from the dead. So the chief priests made plans to kill Lazarus as well. For an account of him, many of the Jews were going over to Jesus and putting their faith in him. The next day a great crowd had come to the feast and heard that Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem. They took palm branches and went out to meet him, shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the King of Israel." Jesus found a young donkey and sat upon it, as it is written, "Do not be afraid, O daughter of Zion. See, your king is coming, seated on the donkey's colt." At first his disciples did not understand all of this. Only after Jesus was glorified did they realize that the things had been written about, or that the things there had been written about him, and that they had done these things. Now the crowd that was with him when he called Lazarus from the tomb and raised from the dead continued to spread the word. Many people, because they had heard he had given miraculous signs, went out to meet him. So the Pharisees said to one another, "See, this is getting us nowhere. Look how the whole world has gone after him." Now there were Greeks among those who went up to worship at the feast. They came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida in Galilee, with a request. "Sir," they said, "we would like to see Jesus." Philip went to go tell Andrew. Andrew and Philip in turn told Jesus. Jesus replied, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. I tell you the truth, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. The man who loves his life will lose it, while the man who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life. Whoever serves me must follow me, and where I am, my servants will also be. My Father will honor the one who serves me. Now my Father is troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? No, it is not for this reason I came for this hour. Father, glorify your name." Then a voice came from heaven. "I have glorified it, and I will glorify it again." The crowd that was there and heard this said it had thundered. Others said an angel had spoken to him. Jesus said, "This voice was for your benefit, not mine. Now is the time of judgment on this world. Now the prince of this world will be driven out. But I have been lifted up from this earth, will draw all men to myself." He said this to show the kind of death he was going to die. The crowd spoke up. "We have heard from the law that the Christ will remain forever. So how can you say the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is the Son of Man?" Jesus told them, "You are going to have the light just a little while longer. Walk while you have the light before the darkness overtakes you. The man who walks in the darkness does not know where he's going. Put your trust in the light while you have it, so that you may become sons of the light." When Jesus had finished speaking, Jesus left and hid himself from them. Even after Jesus had done all these miraculous signs in their presence, they still wouldn't believe in him. This was to fulfill the word of Isaiah the prophet. "Lord, who has believed our message, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed?" For this reason they could not believe, because as Isaiah says elsewhere, he has blinded their eyes and deafened their ears, so they can neither see with their eyes, nor understand with their hearts, nor turn, and I would heal them. Isaiah said this because he saw Jesus' glory and spoke about him. Yet at the same time, many even among the leaders believed in him. But because of the Pharisees, they would not confess their faith for fear they would be put out of the synagogue. For they loved praises from men more than the praises from God. Then Jesus cried out, "When a man believes in me, he does not believe in me only, but in the one who sent me. When he looks at me, he sees the one who sent me. I have come into this world as a light, so that the one who believes in me should stay in darkness. As for the person who hears my words, but does not keep them, I do not judge them. For I did not come to judge the world, but to save it. There is a judge for the one who rejects me and does not accept my words. That very word which I spoke will condemn him at the last day, for I did not speak of my own accord, but the Father who sent me commanded me what to say and how to say it. I know that his commands leads to eternal life, so whatever I say is just, and the Father has told me to say." John chapter 11 and 12. Thank you guys for listening to Raising the Wild Ones podcast. I know me and Caleb sure had a ton of fun making this episode and just kind of going on our rants and stuff like that. And I just wanted to hop in real quick and be sure to remind you guys to like the podcast, share the podcast, tell your friends about the podcast, tell your cats, dogs, everybody. Tell your fishing and hunting buddies, right? I know it's hunting season, and during hunting season you do a lot of just like sitting around and hanging out, and just tell them about this podcast, and tell anybody you think would like to hear our podcast about us. And please also, if you'd like to, just drop us a line at raisingwildonespodcast@gmail.com. Tell us about future episodes you would want us to talk about. And also just let us know what you think in general about our podcast. We would love to hear from you guys, and we just thank you so much for listening to our podcast.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to reach out and bring you some exciting news. Our Patreon is now live. Patreon is a way to support this podcast so we can keep it going. For $6 a month, which is the cost of a cup of coffee, you get exclusive content that is for members only. This includes special episodes, show notes, and early release of our upcoming episodes. As we grow, more will become available through our membership. Another exciting thing is that we will donate $1 out of the $6 membership fee to missions. This money will go into the hands of missionaries on the ground doing the Lord's work. We are working on this and will hopefully have a podcast episode where we interview the missionary soon, so stay tuned for this. So go to patreon.com/raisingthewildonespodcast or click on the link to our Patreon site in the show notes below. Thank you for supporting this podcast, and God bless.